wonderful. And why don't you tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Well, just about 4 years ago, I moved to Canada from the Bahamas to study at university, and it's been quite a journey. I studied accounting, and I knew that I always had a love for that since I loved balancing numbers back in high school. And so, I guess, fun fact, I am the only one here from my whole family, moved by myself. I was like 16, and so far, I've been loving it. And yeah, right now I am a tax associate, and that's just what I do for now.
That's wonderful. Were you born in the Bahamas?
Yeah, born and raised in the Bahamas.
Yeah,
Yep,
that's so cool. And did you go anywhere else before coming to Calgary, or was it just to go to Calgary?
just Calgary. I literally own the only other place I've ever been prior to coming to Calgary was Toronto, and that was only in the airport.
No way.
Yeah.
So, why don't you tell me a little bit about like the travel experience? Maybe like how was there any challenges setting up coming over here, the flights, anything like that?
So I personally didn't find any issues with the travels. I thought it was pretty straightforward. I got a one way from the Bahamas to Calgary. The only issue was that on my island, we don't have like a WestJet or Air Canada, so I needed to fly into the capital first, and then from the capital to Toronto, and then finally to Calgary. So it was just like that was the first time I'd ever traveled so long, but yeah, there wasn't any issues. And like setting up myself over here, my roommate, my previous roommate actually was she was already here in Calgary, and she's also from the Bahamas.
No.
And so she kind of knew about going about finding apartments and stuff. And I was only 16, so I couldn't sign a lease. So it was just perfect that she was an adult and she could sign and we could like live together.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really great. Yeah.
Hmm.
And I mean, like, overall, like, the experience of, like, when you first arrived, how was that?
When I first arrived, I was just excited. I was like, wow, like I'm in Canada. This is what I've been dreaming about for a while. I had seen it on TV, so it was just like, okay, this is happening. I am here. Um, and I think the first difference I noticed was the weather. It wasn't really cold yet, but it was a big shift from Bahamas to here, and I was just really excited about all of that.
Yeah, how was that adjustment, obviously, coming from somewhere that's a lot warmer to coming here, which is, like, all kinds of different temperatures all the time?
Even from then till now, it's always a mental preparation to like, okay, just know it's gonna be cold. And then like actually quite a lot of people tried to scare me away from Calgary because they were like, oh, it goes up to -40 and you have never experienced that before. But I think because I was just so excited, this is my first time even seeing snow and all that extra stuff. So I was just excited about all of it. Um, just wear a lot of clothes and go enjoy that snow.
That's so good. I feel like not a lot of people get excited about the snow here anymore, so at least we know some people do out there. For sure.
Yep.
What were some of, like, the challenges that you faced maybe with, like, housing or maybe food pricing, anything like that? Or, like, do you have, like, a car? Was that difficult to get a hold of, that kinda thing?
Yeah, I think the biggest transition was having to catch the bus. I had never caught the bus before, so I didn't know how transit works, et cetera, et cetera. And then, like back home, if I wanted to go from point A to point B, a car would take me there right away. But with the transit, it's like you got to stop here, walk here, then take the next bus there, and it was just a lot. I found that a lot, really confusing. But I still don't like it. I think it's convenient to just jump and go when I want to, but when it's like temperatures like now, it's just not fun at all. So that even to now, I don't like it. I
Fair
don't.
enough. As somebody who was born and raised here too, the transit is not good. It's very
Mm,
bad, so I totally understand.
right.
How did you find, like, finding housing and stuff like that? Like, obviously, you said that you had a roommate and all of that. Has that been okay? Like, has it been an easy transition from that, or do you kind of, like, wish it was a bit easier?
So the transition, I don't really feel like there was much of a transition for me. Um, like I said, we had to get the apartment before we came to Calgary, so put security deposits and all that extra stuff. And we wanted an apartment that was close to the school, and this was available. So I actually didn't have much like say in what was going on. My roommate did, so she just let me know the price and that kind of stuff, and basically I just moved in. I didn't really have much going on for that part.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, well, that's good. At least you
Mhm.
had a little bit of, like, a buffer for it and everything. You didn't have to deal with it on your own.
Exactly.
I'm I'm so curious. What do you think of the people here? How has that experience been?
Honestly, I think they're pretty cool. So far, the Canadians are friendly people. They're like funny, really funny people. I've been loving them so far. But you have the occasional ones who make you like, did they really say that? Like, did they really do that? I could even remember a point. Um, Me and my roommate, it was just so cold, and we were like, no, 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 we gotta go in a store, get into a building. And these girls, like, you could tell they were like two black girls. Ugh, we better call 911 soon. So I don't know. There are some people you could tell that they're not really feeling the meat. So, but otherwise, it's been pretty great, and especially going to Mount Royal, I got to just meet so many people and meet people of so much different backgrounds and religions. And that's something I looked forward to when I decided to come to Canada. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you actually, like, you got to my next question, talking about kind of meeting people and getting a sense of community and all that, and, finding maybe like those group of friends or something like that.
Right.
Have you found any like community outreach like programs or just services that have really been helpful? Or just like when you meet people, like have you met people with similar backgrounds as you, or like just like going through that adjustment as well?
Mm. Well, I'd say I definitely have. Mount Royal has done a great job with the clubs and stuff. So I really just put myself out there to be a part of, I guess, the groups that were similar to me, like a Christian club or the Afro Carol club and stuff like that. So I guess being a part of those clubs and with those people, similar background, really just made the transition easier. So yeah.
Oh, that's so good. Do you get to go home regularly? Like, have you been home for, like, the holidays or stuff like that?
I did. Every summer I go home. Every summer.
So
Yeah.
you don't get too homesick?
Honestly, only
Still?
I realize I don't until I know that I'm going back.
Yeah,
Only
that's
when I know. Yeah.
that's totally fair. What do you think is, like, aside from the weather, what is the biggest difference from being in Canada to being in the Bahamas?
Mm, the biggest difference. I think the biggest difference would be the diversity. Um, in the Bahamas, you basically have everyone looks alike, everyone almost does the same things, etc. But over here, like I said, there's just so much different people, different cultures, different backgrounds, and you don't really get much of that back there. So yeah.
Interesting.
But challenge wise, let's see. Besides the weather, honestly, I think besides the weather and the awful transit, probably the pricing of things. I find that, you know what, I think it's everywhere though, the inflation and stuff like that. it's really high. Cut it.
Yeah, I totally agree with you for sure.
Hmm.
Yeah, if somebody is, considering coming to Calgary or Canada, what's some advice that you would give them, based off of your experiences?
I'd say just know what you're getting into. Don't come here and then complain about the weather the whole time. You know long in advance what it gets like. Um, Also, like, be prepared. Don't come unprepared when it comes to like housing, and you want to have enough resources to, I guess, provide for yourself. Um, and I guess just be prepared to deal with just what it takes to blend into another culture, another way of life, and it gets easier after a while.